this computer.
Oh. Hello, my name is Ambrielle Smith. I am the 9th and 10th grade social worker at Mastery High School of Camden. I am here with Jenna Kali, my social work assistant, and we are presenting our very first Connecting Families session. With Connecting Families, what my hope is to be able to be a support to parents. So we will be hopefully moving this into next year and presenting a whole series with different topics each time. But for our first one, we wanted to talk about supporting emotions and identifying strengths. And this is for parents and for you to be able to support your children. I know that this school year has been very hectic. It's been very different than what we're used to. And I'm not sure if parents really felt supported. And I know you had to step into a role that you weren't prepared for. So as we're moving into summer break and some of the school supports that were here won't be available as much, I wanted to help you and prepare you to be able to support your children over the next few months and hopefully forever. So we will get started. What are these feelings? So working with kids all the time, most of the things that they list or some things that you may hear them say is that they're feeling anxious or that they're feeling depressed. So I hear that a lot working with my students when it comes to them trying to complete their schoolwork, trying to make things up, but also dealing with normal teenage things. So I want to say first that anxiety is not necessarily a bad thing. We have anxiety for a reason. Anxiety actually helps us to keep ourselves safe. So when you are trying to cross the street and you see a car coming and you know to stop, that is basically the anxious feeling in your body telling you that you're in danger. So the issue is when anxiety starts happening, when there's no actual thing that can harm you. Sometimes we have memories. Maybe one time I tripped and fell in the hallway. So now when I'm in a hallway with a lot of people, it makes me feel anxious because I'm thinking back to that time when I tripped and fell. So what anxiety really is your body's response to stress. We all feel anxious sometimes, but when it gets really, really bad or it's really severe, sometimes it can cause physical symptoms like increased heart rate, stomach ache, feeling dizzy, feeling super fearful, difficulty sleeping, etc. So when your child is telling you that they're feeling anxious, it isn't always a small thing. Sometimes it can just be a feeling that they're having in their body and it might be something that they're able to control, but it could also lead to physical symptoms that is actually causing them to not be able to enjoy their day. Depression is another thing that I hear teens talk about a lot and younger kids too. Depression is feeling down or sad to the point that you don't want to do the things that you usually do, but it's different than feeling sad. All of us feel sad. Sad is a normal emotion, and it actually is good to feel sad sometimes. But depression is when you may feel like you can't get out of bed, or you might start questioning life or your purpose in life. You may also start feeling, you may lose your appetite. You may feel worthless, difficulty concentrating, thoughts of death, and things like that. So when you see that your child may be experiencing these things in a very severe way, that's when you may want to get some outside help, maybe reach out to an agency, or you can reach out to me and I can give you some resources. Some other feelings that students may feel are anger, mood swings, low self-esteem, unmotivated, overwhelmed, impulsive, or lonely. Even if they're with other people, they may say, I feel lonely. All of these feelings are completely normal. They're very common. But if you feel like it's interfering with your child's day, you may want to reach out to make sure that you're getting them some extra support. So it's important to understand your child's developmental stage. So this image is kind of showing you what they're thinking in their mind, how they're viewing themselves. But at this stage, children, or when I'm thinking of high school age children, 13 through 18, they're really starting to figure out who they are. They're trying to find their identity. So with them trying to find their identity, sometimes they may not want to be around you as much. They want to be with their friends more. And that's something that I hear parents complain about. You don't ever want to spend time with your family. You always want to be with your friends. That's actually very, very normal at this age. They may be more emotional. They may be more moody. And it may change very, very often. They may be more impulsive because they really are just trying to figure things out. They want to be an adult, but they're not an adult yet. And so they're trying to figure out what they like. They're trying to figure out who they should be in this world, especially with social media. And they see so many different people live in different ways. They're just trying to find out where they fit. They may start pushing the limits. They may start it may look as like bad behavior, but they're just trying to establish some type of authority in their own life. They want some type of control over their lives. And so that may come in the form of them rebelling against some of the rules that you have, so that they can see, like how much control they have over their lives, or trying to take more control. But then they also may feel some guilt about not wanting to be around you as much because they love you. You're their parent. They want to hang with you sometimes, but they also just want to go establish themselves in the world and figure things out. And all of those things are completely normal for their developmental stage. So that's something for you to keep in mind when you're seeing these things, reacting in a way where you're showing them that this is normal, that you're feeling this way. Well, this was supposed to be a video of The Little Mermaid, but I didn't want to try to click out of this. So we'll come back to this video later on. So after explaining all these different feelings that they may be feeling, after explaining their developmental stage, what is it that your child needs from you? That may be something that you're wondering. Your child needs a listening ear. They need to know that they can come to you, they can talk to you, and you will actually listen to them. Listening means being quiet and allowing them to share with you, and listening to respond and not to react. So there's a difference between listening and you already know what you want to say to them next, and listening and you're actually taking in what they're saying. Your child needs to have the space to feel without expectation or criticism. So when they are telling you how they feel, if you start criticizing them, telling them they're attention seeking, or maybe saying that they're manipulative, that may make them feel like you don't care about what they're saying, or it may make them feel small, make them feel like their feelings are not valid. Also, you have to remember that the situation, their feelings are completely about them. It has nothing to do with you, even if it feels like it does, even if they're yelling at you, their feelings that they're feeling are completely about them. So even if you disagree, being able to be like, I see how you feel. I completely understand, or I see what you're saying. To know that you love and care about them. This is, I feel like could be the most important thing of all. I feel like most kids, they just want to know that their parents truly, truly care, that their parents love them. If you're giving them love, then they understand that even as they're going through this moodiness and they're going through all of these different feelings that they're having, they know they can come back to you at the end of the day. Consistency. So I don't want to go too much into like discipline, because that is another topic that I want to cover at another time. But when you do set a standard, you want to make sure that you're consistent with that. So sometimes their emotions, them showing their emotions, or if they feel like their emotions are supported, that can lead to some behavior concerns. So if they are starting to show like behavior concerns, or doing different things where you told them the rules, they're not listening, making sure that you're keeping the consequences consistent. When you kind of waver, it confuses them. So if you sometimes do something when they misbehave and then you don't do it the next time, they may not understand, and they'll continue to push those limits. When they're sharing their feelings with you, they need you to respond in a way that shows that you're actually listening to them and that you are giving them that space to feel. So using responses like, you are not a burden, I love you and that's why I'm here, how can I better support you when you feel like this? I feel like that is a huge one, because I don't know how many times we check in with our students or our children, or the children that are around us, to say, hey, what can I do better? How can I support you? So they know what they want. Kids know much more than we give them credit for. So making sure that we're asking, how can I better support you when you feel like this? Even though they're searching for that identity, their identity, they know what they need. And so you can give them the opportunity to tell you. And then also, I'm sorry that you're going through this right now. You're doing such a great job anyway. That's a form of validating their feelings. Your child needs for you to prioritize your wellness. So if we would have been able to watch the clip of Ariel and her father and Little Mermaid, he was upset with her because she was making choices that he didn't want her to make, and he flew off the handle. He broke all of her stuff. And a lot of times those responses come because we are not in control of our anger. So when you see yourself yelling or flipping out on your kid when they do something that they're not supposed to do, or they're showing an emotion that you're not able to support, it's because maybe you haven't checked in with yourself and you haven't made sure that you were in control of your own emotions. So making sure that you are being self-aware, you're getting, if you need to, you feel like you have some things that you're trying to work on, if you're feeling anxious or if you're feeling depressed, making sure that you're getting the help that you need, speaking to someone, getting therapy, anything that you need, making sure that you're prioritizing yourself, because if you are not doing well, the whole family won't do well. And lastly, be aware of your language when you're talking about mental health. So if you've ever been talking to a friend or something and you're just like, ooh, that person crazy, or you're talking about some random person that you saw, or a person that was acting a certain way, or a person that was feeling super nervous or anxious, and you're talking about them in a negative way, you may not even realize that your kid is listening to your conversation from the other room. They may hear what you're saying, and they won't tell you, but they won't share with you after that, because they're assuming this is how you feel about those types of people. So if I'm saying that I'm emotionally not well, or if I am dealing with something, I'm not going to talk to my parent about it because I heard them talking to someone and they said that this is the type of person that they were. So make sure that you're paying attention to the language that you use when you're talking about emotions, when you're talking about not saying that crying is weak, not just or get over it, or this person needs to just get over it, and things like that. Just paying attention, because your kids hear much more than you think that they hear, and that will keep them from wanting to share with you. I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Cali.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to this. So what we're going to talk about now is strengths. The simple thing of identifying strengths can be very powerful to the development and succession of your child. So strengths are all the natural capabilities. Each and every person on this earth has strengths. So when you identify those strengths, and people tend to feel more energized. They report higher levels of self-esteem, well-being, and have better moods, less stress. These things, by identifying these strengths in your child and communicating that to them, can lead to much higher outcomes, especially for the kids, especially with this whole pandemic. They've been struggling this past year. So identifying these things can help your kid thrive in their environment. So first, I want to, as you can see on the screen, there's creativity, curiosity. These are all different types of strengths that you can communicate to your child. For creativity, you notice that your kid is very design, likes to draw. These are things that you can tell them, like, oh, you're very creative. Or another one is love. If they care for their younger brothers and sisters and they care for them in love and will do anything for them, that's a sign of another strength. An example that I have, and I think the power that strengths and identifying them to children is I had a student with me recently do a mock interview for one of their classes. And the first question I asked was, tell me about yourself. And he really struggled to identify who he was. And I think that if a strengths approach was implemented for him and was communicated, or he was recognizing it in himself, then he would be able to quickly put together how he described himself. I am very creative, I'm kind. Those are things that I see in this student, but he doesn't see in himself, which hopefully after this we can work together on. You can go to the next slide, Ms. Smith. So here are some examples of strengths that we can identify. An important thing to note is that strengths are noticeable, but some of them aren't. As you can see in other strengths and talents, these are things that can be seen on the surface. Like my child is very athletic. He can play sports. He can compete at that level. Those are things that are very noticeable, but there's some things that are underlying that you as a parent could observe in your child to really bring out and communicate to them. Some of them, like such as social strengths, is a good listener. Your child listens to you when you talk to them, and they really absorb what you're saying and do and complete something if you ask of them. Another one is language. Participates in discussions at home, at school, and with friends. That's something that, we often glaze over. If your child is actively at the dinner table talking with you, giving an opinion, those are things that we can really bring light and praise them for. Be like, thank you for always participating, like always communicating with me or talking. A big one is can change tone of voice when telling a story or asking questions as well. So how can you identify these strengths in your child? There's definitely some step process that I was able to kind of find, and it might work for you and it might not, but these are at least ways that you can identify them in your child. The first one is use play and cultivate the imagination. For you as a parent, you could watch your child and just observe them and see how they interact with others and what you notice when they socialize with other kids. That could really promote emotional growth and cognitive enrichment. So identifying how they interact with other people could be a way that you identify different types of strengths within them. The second one is seek out what makes your child unique. Those little quirks that your child might have, those are key clues to strengths. An example I have is if your child picks out your outfit for the day or designs their own bedroom, those are key things that they might have that strength of design and have an eye for it that could later on transition into something that they do later on in life when they grow up, is being an interior designer or being in fashion. And those are things that we also offer at Mastery that can transcend, those strengths can transcend into being in a fashion class that we offer here. The next one is take note on your child's behaviors and reactions. Make sure we're observing them and seeing how they react to you when you say a comment to them. Another one is create family traditions. If you celebrate birthdays a certain way in your household, and you go above and beyond and make your child feel like a king or a queen, they'll most likely repeat those behaviors later on in life. And when they always do nice things for other people. And this also allows them to relate to others and form different relationships, because when you're bringing your family together as well. The next one is listen to your child effectively. Ms. Smith really did touch on how to listen and really give your child a voice and to complete the full sentence of what they're saying and with no interruptions. I think allows for your child to identify that key strength, just as like in before with social strengths. The next one is resist the urge to evaluate everything and overstate expectations. Some parents want their child to succeed. We all want our kids to succeed. Sometimes they unintentionally burden children by evaluating everything they do. So I think a big thing in this is, an example is when your child does fail, making sure we're saying failing is okay. It's a part of the process. It's almost expected in life that you're going to fail at something, but making sure tell them that this is a part of their journey. And next one is let them tell their own stories. Ms. Smith did touch on this as well. Let them tell the full story. To discover their strengths, they want to know you care about their unique experiences. This shows that you do care, and you want to hear the full thing and how their day went, what happened at school. That'll also open up for you to really identify all those different types of strengths that they have. And a big one that me and Miss Smith really identified was don't compare them to other siblings. Every child that you have is different. It's not all one size fits all with you. Even if you do the same parenting style with them, each child is going to respond differently to it. And then the last one is give them choices. Giving two options that you think are okay allows them to still, you find it okay, but it gives them the choice to pick what they want to do. But you're also giving them a variety of things, and it allows them to really have a say in that their opinion matters and what they do matters. So some tips on strengths, just kind of to tie it all in, is children do need to be praised. If you do communicate these strengths to them and they continue to repeat the same behaviors after you acknowledge them, praise them on that. Tell them they're doing a great job. Show them that you see the hard work that they're completing. This will ultimately, the reaction of it will, the behaviors will be repeated. Express gratitude. If you express, just like in the example of family traditions and repeating things, by you expressing gratitude to your child and saying how much you appreciate them for what they're doing, the hard work that they might be putting in at school, or overcoming a lot of adversities that are thrown their way, especially in the past year. Express that to them, and then most likely they will do the same for you and make you feel like a good parent, saying thank you, Mom, for doing this for me, or doing picking up like folding my clothes, something simple as that. But everybody needs to feel good. And then allow your child to have a voice. I'm just going to keep repeating this because I think it's a very important key in connecting your family, is allowing your child to have a voice. You can't just expect the reactions out of them. Let them have a voice. Allow them to tell you how they feel. Let them feel the pain that they are currently feeling, if they are. And then lastly, the ratio of positive to negative feedback. Ms. Smith gave an example to me is, with one negative comes two positives. We don't always want to focus on the negative feedback that you're trying to give your child, because then that's all they're going to remember. You always want to counteract it with two positives. And another scenario is the sandwich effect. You can do one positive, a negative, and positive. So they always remember that positive. The negative isn't something that they remember, not the last thing that they remember.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like that one, making sure that we're giving a lot of positive feedback. And then you most likely won't have to worry about having to give so much negative feedback, because once they receive so much praise, they'll want to keep receiving praise. And so you'll see that they'll want to do things the right way. If you're always giving negative feedback, they're going to be like, my mom's not going to care anyway, so I'm just going to keep doing what I want to do. But after all of that, and talking about how our students are feeling, how our children are feeling, and how we can identify their strengths, I want to give you a second to just consider how you may have initially responded to some of these things, and then also thinking about how you might respond now that we've given you some of these tips. These are all what I'm about to show you are different things that children have come to me with, and some of you may have had your children come to you with these things. And some of you may have some of your children come to you with these things at some point in the future. So just I'm going to give you a second. I'm going to click through, and I want you to think about how you would have responded, and then how you think that you might respond now that we've talked about a few things. I ran away because I feel stuck and you don't listen to me. Mom, I think I'm depressed. Dad, I think I need to go to counseling. I've been having thoughts of hurting myself. I was in a relationship and today he or she broke up with me. So to just go back to some of the things that we've talked about so far, as you're thinking about how you would have responded and then now how you hope to respond in the future. I hope one big takeaway is that your children and our children, the kids that we work with, they really do pay attention to the way that we respond to things. So they're very emotional and they want to share their emotions with someone. And we want to make sure that we're creating environments that they feel like they can share their emotions with us and they will feel supported. But you will start to see negative behaviors when they don't feel like their emotions are being supported. They will try to receive what they need in different ways, or they will try to receive it from other people that you may not agree with, or people that they feel will listen to them. And that can put them in some bad situations sometimes. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to the way that we respond so that we can create those safe spaces for our children to be able to come to us and talk about anything that they need to. And also remembering that to put yourself second when it comes to your child's emotions. They're feeling how they're feeling, whether you agree or you don't agree, it's not going to make their feeling go away. So being able to address their feelings and being able to support the way that they're feeling, and then finding a way for you guys to meet in the middle to be able to address whatever concern that they're having. It's okay to talk to your kids and ask them how they're feeling and to work with them to come up with a solution. In the end, you got this. It's not easy working with teens. It's not easy being an adult, and it's not easy being a parent. Nobody gives you a guidebook. So hopefully we were able to help at least a little bit. If you need any type of extra support, you can reach me at ambrielle.smith@masterycharter.org. And if this was in real time, we would have been able to answer some questions, but you can always send your questions to me at any point. And thank you so much. I hope this has been helpful. And we will have more of the series next school year. So catch us in September. We will have them live where we'll be able to talk and discuss and do this thing together. We're here for you. Thanks.